Pasadena, California. It's the NFLPA Collegiate Bowl from the Rose Bowl. Fantastic day. Feels like football weather. A little chill in the air, but a little college football for you after the season. Why not get back in the football mode? Welcome to the Rose Bowl. Joel Klatt is here. Mark Schlereth is here. And I'm Kevin Burkhardt. So here are these kids, guys, trying to get noticed, trying to get drafted, whatever they can to get to the NFL. And if you look at this game, you want to talk about success stories. Well, there's one pretty recently from last year playing on the Bears, Mark.
Absolutely. Fourth-round draft choice, Tariq Cohen, and he was phenomenal for the Chicago Bears. Come out of this game. Hey, he's 5'6", but don't call him small, man. This kid plays. He's a football playing Jesse. He can run it. He can catch it. Over 1,500 of total yards last season for Chicago Bears. And I'm telling you what, dynamic player discovered right here in this game.
And so that's what we'll be looking for today, as are all the scouts that were here all week long. But, Joel, give me a couple guys who are on your radar today.
Well, let me start with the quarterbacks, right? The former quarterbacks got to talk about quarterbacks. There's a couple of guys in this game that have really stood out during the week of practice, and we're going to talk a lot about them during the course of this ball game. I'm going to start with a little-known player out of Texas A&M Commerce named Luis Perez. Now, he was the Harlan Hill Trophy winner as Division II's best college football player. He was near 70%, over 70% last season as the Harlan Hill winner, 68% on his career with over 70 touchdowns in his career. I can't wait to watch him play against some of these kids that played at the Power 5 and at the FBS level. Then the other kid that I'm looking forward to watching today, Logan Woodside. Logan Woodside is the career leader in passing yardage for Toledo. He's been very good for a long time. 64% this year, 3,800 yards, 28 touchdowns. And if you talk with his offensive coordinator in this game, John Kitna, longtime NFL quarterback, he'll tell you that Woodside reminds him a lot of Drew Brees. Now, it's hard to compare, obviously, careers, but when you're talking about stature, the ability to disseminate information, accuracy, all of those things Woodside brings to the table.
Cool thing for these kids is that you're talking about all-star coaching staffs here.
Yeah.
So they're getting with guys who've played, coached in the NFL for years. And because it's an all-star game, we've got some of those coaches mic'd up. There you see the list. Mike Martz, John Kitna, as you talked about, Joel, Matthew Hatchett, and Darrell Green, the Hall of Famer. As a matter of fact, he's mic'd up, so we listened into his huddle just a little while ago.
But I think what happens on a day like this is when players show up. That's when players show up. So let's do your thing today, all right? You got the defense going to be going over here, offense over here, over there, all right? Let's do it.
Let's go, man.
You got it, you got it, you got it.
Touch money on three, touch money on me. 1, 2, 3. Touch money.
Darrell Green, the great Washington Redskin, of course, your former teammate, Mark. There he is on the coaching sidelines, and now let's hear more from him down on the sidelines with our Petros Papadakis.
Coach, what kind of week have you had? That's the second year you've been involved in this. First year as the head coach. What's it been like for you?
It's been incredible. I've loved it. I mean, these kids have been awesome. I've been a part of this game from its inception, and I just couldn't be more happier.
What are you looking for these guys to accomplish as a team and individually out here today?
Looking for them to perform and represent themselves well and take this next step toward their future, the future that they want. I'm looking for them to help us win this game.
All right. What's the key?
The key is that we just play smart. We play smart and we play tough. I think that's what we have, smart kids, and I think we're tough.
All right, guys.
All right, Petros, thank you very much. And so Darrell Green will get set for his maiden voyage on the coaching ranks. And there is Mike Martz. He's the veteran of this group now. He's won 4 of these games in a row. So the national team, they're wearing the dark colored jerseys here today at the Rose Bowl. They will receive to start off. Guys, there's some different rules in this game. A little finagling with the rules. There's only 2 kickoffs. You'll see it now, and then you'll see it after the half. Other than that, the teams will just start at the 25-yard line.
Kind of love it, though, because it's really all about development, right? And it's the ability of these scouts throughout the NFL. And here you see some of those rules. Each quarter will begin either with a kickoff or the possession at the 25-yard line. First and third quarter is a kickoff. Second and fourth, first and 10 at the 25. Following the score, when trailing by 20 points, that team maintains possession. So you get down by basically 3 possessions, it's make it, take it at that point. It's like schoolyard basketball. But the development, and they do all these things so they can just watch them play.
Not only watch them play, but also make sure you keep these kids healthy as they transition to the next level. That's an important aspect of this game.
And we are underway. Jordan Descalzco will kick it off, and it's received by Detrez Newsome, who is in a heap of trouble, and he is dropped down at the 17-yard line. And so that's where the national squad will take over and see who they run out on the field here. A lot of these guys will play. Each team has 3 quarterbacks on the roster, and they also have, well, a bunch of different players. So we will get to see a few of those for each squad. As a matter of fact, Joel, the guy you like a lot is going to get the start here at quarterback with Logan Woodside.
Yeah, Mike Martz and John Kidness said he had the best week, and he earned the ability to go out there and start and get this first shot.
And they'll throw it on first down. Pressure hit as he throws. Tipped in. It is, they say, intercepted by Jannard Avery, and indeed it is. So on the first play, there's an interception, and American takes over.
There was some great pressure off the left side of the offensive line and forced Woodside to throw the ball before he wanted to. And that allows the linebacker to get his hands on it. And Ed Shockley from Villanova was the linebacker that ended up tipping it up. Here's 53. Watch, he slips, falls, and then he gets his hands on the football, and then it's a mad rush. And finally, the interception is made. Great job by Jannard Avery from Memphis. Guy was on the Nagurski and Butkus Award watch list heading into last season. Makes a big play here.
Avery had big time here.
And anytime you're using a pop technique, your guard is popping out to pick up the defensive end coming off the ball. That's one of those techniques for me you want to scrap, because as a former guard, that doesn't work. So let's scrap pile that one and never do it again.
Listen, from the quarterback, I'll also echo that. Let's scrap.
Good.
So Luis Perez, the other person on Joel's watch list for this game, starts at quarterback. What a story he is, but they will begin this game with the handoff to Dalen Dawkins out of Colorado State. And not far to go for Dalen Dawkins. So, Joel, you talked about Perez in the open. His numbers were absolutely eye-popping. You're talking about throwing for 5,000 yards in a college season. Where do you begin here?
Well, this is a kid that I really believe has a chance to make a roster, and maybe that's a practice squad, you know, and so maybe it's not the active roster, but he's just a really quality player, and it's his accuracy and it's his ability to anticipate throws that I think sets him apart.
No running. Dawkins again, and he gets buried. Just nowhere to go. Nife Lalo from Vanderbilt on the tackle.
And Lalo, I mean, he gets in there right off the edge, playing a 3 technique, outside shade of the offensive guard, gets that penetration inside, makes the inside slant move, and then able to work back up the football field, not losing your balance, put your foot in the ground just like a running back, and actually getting back up vertical at the running back to get him in the backfield.
So a 3rd down and 15 is coming up for the American squad. Perez, a draw. Dawkins has some room, makes a man miss, gets past the original line of scrimmage. And in field goal range if they decide to try that, or they could go. All-star game, we'll see. I know Joel rooting for a field goal try here. We'll have to see what happens. It will be a field goal attempt.
This is Joel's one of his watch list guys here.
Well, I wouldn't go quite as far as watch list, but Jordan Descalo has been kind of the talk of the week. Now, he's the kicker from Eastern Washington, and he was mostly a punter for Eastern Washington, and he's being given a chance to go out there and be the place kicker as well. And there's actually an injured player from the national team. I think that's...
Yeah, it's Adi Aruna who is down.
From Tulane, and that's too bad because he had a terrific week.
So Aruna up on his own. We'll take a quick break, though, and be back to the Rose Bowl in a moment.
I want us to forget.
We're never in a process of labor peace.
You are up against the most powerful economic entity in the United States of America.
I understand what this struggle is all about.
Know that our union will
Sure as I'm standing here.
stand side by side,
If you're prepared to fight for it,
step in step,
We're talking about changing the system.
arm in arm.
We're talking about
The brave efforts that millions of workers worldwide have taken throughout history.
and be treated with the dignity and respect that you deserve.
Well, here's a look at some of the practice. I'm talking about right in the middle of practice here. Threw some GoPro cams on some helmets, and you come away with that. NFLPA Collegiate Bowl here at the Rose Bowl. Glad to have you aboard today. Fantastic weather, as is most of the year here in Pasadena. And now the American squad will go for it on 4th down and 7. Welcome those of you watching us on FS1, just starting here from the Rose Bowl, as this ball is tipped on 4th down and incomplete. And the national squad will take over, and I believe we have a penalty here, so hang with us. If you're on FS1, again, the NFLPA Collegiate Bowl just got going a little bit ago.
Prior to the pass, holding, defense, number 28, 5-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
That's on Chris Jones, and so a first down, so the American squad will keep the ball and keep the drive going.
So something to watch out for is the defensive backs in this game. They're now being asked to play with NFL rules. You see, that was not a foul necessarily in the college game. You could get away with contact past 5 yards. You can get away with more grabs in the college game. That's kind of taken away from these players now in the NFL game, and it's something they're going to have to adjust to, in particular when you're talking about coverage down the field.
Fake to Dawkins. Perez tipped again. It's been the tip ball drill here today from the Rose Bowl. Motuapuaka, Andrew Motuapuaka from Virginia Tech got his hands on that one. Interesting guys today to note too from this game as we look at the replay. Offensive sets, you can only run a few of them here.
Yeah, it's very vanilla, very basic. It's basically on the defensive and the offensive side. And Motuapuaka, by the way, from Virginia Tech, he's a guy that had a great season, highly productive guy, and is playing well already here today.
They will run it to Dawkins, and he's got nowhere to go.
Just a wide zone stretch play right here. I mean, this is one of those plays that every NFL team in America runs. I mean, they want to get that wide stretch, and it's about not only getting to that point on the football field, but being able to stick your foot in the ground and make sure you get positive yardage. And you've got to be able to applaud every now and again a 2-3 yard gain because of the effect it has on a defense, wearing them down. It'll get those hands down so they can't keep blocking these passes.
Down.
Third down and 10. Perez are going to dump it off. Coming Dawkins, and he goes nowhere. Another play by Motuapuaka, and a 4th and long coming your way, and now a field goal attempt.
You know, if you're a scout and you're watching a defender, in particular a second-level defender like a linebacker like Motuapuaka, what you're looking for is recognition. You know, how quickly can they disseminate information on the defensive side, and a screen pass is a great barometer for how quickly you can recognize and react. And that was a terrific job there, understanding what the offense was trying to do, getting out there and making a stop.
So this will be a 43-yard field goal for Jordan Descalo. Didn't attempt one all year. He was the punter. Has kicked in the past. This one is up, and this is pushed to the right. No good. And so we remain scoreless here from the Rose Bowl. If you're watching us on FS2, turn it on over to FS1. That's where the game is scoreless in this All-Star game.
Do you always put cheese and grooves in your
Pancakes on a platter. Come on over here. Bring your own syrup. They're in there eating peanut butter sandwiches. You guys enjoy that breakfast I just served up on them platters for you? Huh? Did you have the break stride ever? No, I don't think so. You're crazy.
John Kitna, the offensive coordinator for the national team, apparently, Joel, very hungry this morning.
Well, I was in training camp with John in 2006 and at Detroit with Mike Martz as the offensive coordinator. Rod Marinelli was the head coach. There is not a better trash talker than John Kitna. I'm telling you, he's like under the radar trash talker. That was just a very small sampling, and it wasn't his best stuff, trust me.
Played in the NFL at quarterback for 14 years. David Williams is the tailback. Scoreless game in this first quarter from the Rose Bowl, and they'll give it to him. Not much room for Williams, who rushed for 1,450 yards this season with 13 touchdowns.
You know, back to Kitna and the trash talking. I'm not quite sure what the pancakes and the peanut butter sandwiches have to do with trash talking.
Well, here's the deal is he was basically saying he was throwing what's called easy ups, right? When you just like, they're just getting loose on the outside and the wide receivers are running down and you're just throwing
little pat and go.
Little go routes.
Yeah.
Well, when you're throwing dimes and they don't have to break stride, you're serving up breakfast as a quarterback. Okay. You know, it's just like you're serving it up, and that's what he's talking about.
Williams gets through, nice run out across the 40, and that will bring up a 3rd down and 2.5. Curious to see how they rotate the backs and such in this game, and how these coaches decide to play all these guys.
Yeah, for this national squad, you know, the coaching staff has talked about all these running backs, and there's about 4 that we'll see today. Similar guys. They're all around 5'10", 200 pounds. And so, you know, an opportunity now for these guys to try to separate themselves from some peers.
They'll run it, and that'll help. Big hole and a first down out to midfield. It's Richard on the carry that time, and now a fumble. Waiting for the official word. No, the ruling is down.
The ruling on the field is the runner was down by contact. First down.
It looked like he was shaken up a little bit at the end of that, but he's up. Demario Richard from Arizona State. 3,200 yards in his career, almost 5 a pop. Certainly did look like he was down there when the ball finally got cut loose. But do you see how he got small and low to the ground when he found his hole and he hit it quickly? That's called getting north and south behind your pads. And I know Petros Papadakis knows a little something about that, former running back at USC, right, my man?
A little bit, but this is a good back. He played along with Kalen Ballage. Both of them split the carries at Arizona State. I think he's going to get into camp and do well.
They'll throw it here. Woodside pressured, going to dump it off to Williams, who is tripped up for a very short game. Jaleel Wadu out of UCLA playing in his home stadium.
And that's one of the things you're looking for as a cornerback, as a support system guy rolling up there. You throw a little swing pass to the outside. Can your corner come up there and make a tackle? Can he stop him for little to no gain and put you behind the chains? Once again, excellent tackle out there in space.
And for a small guy, Jaleel, he's not afraid to stick his nose in there. You know, he had 288 tackles in his career. He's only 161 pounds, you know, so he's not afraid, and he shows it there.
Woodside has time, fires over the middle. And it was incomplete because Shockley was there.
So here's where the quarterback has got to help out his wide receiver and just allow the window to develop. Watch the linebacker 53. He's going to drop into coverage, and all the quarterback Woodside has to do is allow the wide receiver to get on that upside shoulder, get past the linebacker, anticipate the window more towards the center of the field. That way that ball doesn't get tipped and batted down by the linebacker 53. That's the second batted ball of the day, Ed Shockley.
We've had a few of those already today. Here is Newsom, who gets his first carry, and that draw doesn't go anywhere. And so a 4th and long in a punting situation.
Both these teams just feeling out each other right there. 3rd down situation, 3rd and long, out of shotgun. Instead of pushing the ball down the football field, you don't have great timing in the passing game right now. A lot of different moving parts up front from a protection standpoint. Go ahead and see if you can pop a draw. If not, you live right here, you punt, and you play a little defense.
Stephen Mitchell back to receive out of USC. This is way over his head, and that's in the end zone. And that means it's break time for us. A lot of tip balls, no points, scoreless first quarter. And we're just going to take whatever shots we want.
How cool is that, though, right?
Pretty neat, yeah. That's what you can do in an all-star game. Now, you got to tell these guys, though, when our director, Jeremy Green, takes the cut, they got to stay still.
Right. Hold your head still, please.
Please abide by the rules. Here's St. Just out of Hawaii, who gets his first carry of the day, and it's a good one. He's going to pick up 8 on the left side. Diasemi St. Just ran for over 1,500 yards, which is actually 6th best in college football.
He's their team's most valuable player, 2nd team All Mountain West. Really good back. Over his career, he was about 5.5 yards per carry, and it's one of those things that I always look at, that average, right? Obviously, your system is going to help that, but do you fall forward? Do you get those few extra yards on every carry that's going to help your average out over the course of a career? He certainly does that.
It's 2nd down and 2. That time, he goes nowhere. And so a 3rd down and 3 is coming up.
Not shocking that the offenses have had trouble. I always felt like the first week of spring ball in college or the first week of training camp in the NFL or fall camp in college football, the defense is always ahead of the offense. Because remember, on defense, you can play more with emotion and speed. Just go play fast, go tackle, play physical football. Whereas offense is always about execution, timing, those types of things. Chemistry plays a part in that as well.
They're going to hand it off in the middle. This is Carter, who makes a move strong, and a first down.
Love the finish right there by Carter. Same foot, same shoulder, drive through the tackler, end up, as Joel said earlier, it's talking about getting those extra yards, making sure as you fall forward. You see the pressure he put on the defender right there, dropping his shoulder and running through the defender. Those are the things you look for at the next level. Can a guy finish a run? That's a great finish.
Yeah, 15-yard run. That's the biggest play of the day, and a 1st and 10 for the American squad. There's a little discombobulation on the handoff, but they get it there to St. Just's for a short gain.
Now going back to Carter, Martez Carter, number 35 from Grambling. You know what I also love? Yeah, I love the finish. Guy has 74 catches in his career, so he can get out of the backfield and he can help a quarterback out on 3rd down. He's a little bit of an all-around type of player. Very much looking forward to watching him play today, and when he got his first chance there, he had a big run.
5'6", hide behind the line of scrimmage a little bit, 204. That's a little bowling ball, a bowling ball of butcher knives right there when he's coming through the tackles.
Fullback in is Ramish, so they give it to St. Just, who's got himself a short gain. I'm going to add one more if you're talking about Carter. How about the fact he's 3 for 3 on extra points? He's kicked a couple extra points somehow in his career. He does it all. They call him Mr. Excitement.
You know, he walked on at Grambling. Unbelievable story. Unbelievable story. He was actually ineligible his senior year of high school. He had to find a way kind of towards the college ranks. He ended up playing basketball in an NAIA school named Wiley College before walking on at Grambling. Now he's here. That's a guy that wants it. You know, he'll do anything to play, and he's certainly doing it.
This is 3rd down. Perez throws at St. Just the back, but he's well shy of a 1st down, and so it brings up a 4th down.
Guess who on the tackle, guys? Am I mistaken here? Is that 54? I thought it was. No, it was 51. Frankie Luvo. Luvu from Washington State was honorable mention all Pac-12 this year, and he showed his speed there. Luvo is a guy, 71 tackles on the year, but he can track the back out of the backfield. He was able to make a big tackle.
He's been all over the field in practice so far this week. One of their team captains for the national squad. Really, you know, he's showing up, and he's one of those guys that's just going to work. He's going to get on the football field. He's just going to work, and he's going to be, you know, he's going to be around the ball at all times. Really get ball hawking skills.
And so the national squad sends back 2 to return the punt. Austin Prohl and Blaze Taylor. Going Taylor's way, calls an immediate fair catch, and he's got it. And the national squad will take over. Still scoreless here from the Rose Bowl, the NFLPA Collegiate Bowl. Glad to have you with us. Back in a minute.
Medicine isn't practiced by saints.
PA Collegiate Bowl here at the Rose Bowl. Let's go down to the sidelines with Petros Papadakis.
Guys, we have luminaries down here. My 2 favorite rookie running backs in the NFL this year. Forget about Leonard Fournette. We got Kareem Hunt and Alvin Kamara, 2 big ballers. What are you guys doing here today?
You know, we out here just with fanatics and watching my quarterback, Logan Woodside.
What kind of quarterback was he when you played with him?
You know, he a pocket passer, you know, a good leader, broke every record out there in Toledo, and just won a MAC championship.
What a great year you had. What is it like putting yourself in the shoes of these guys, the position you were in last year, going through all this process, not knowing what it's going to be like in the future?
Man, it's crazy because we was just here a year ago, and it goes by quick. But, you know, I mean, these guys out here working, they've been working all week. So just coming out here and watching and supporting them, just trying to have a good time out here.
What's the schedule like while you're out in L.A.? You guys working out or just hanging out with these players or what?
Yeah, we just pretty much, you know, hanging out with these players and enjoying this weather right now, you know. It ain't like this in Kansas City or Cleveland.
It's not?
Nah, it's a little chilly out here, though. But, you know, I'm going to go put my little Fanatics hoodie on after I get done, and we'll be good.
Well, good for you guys. Thank you for being here, and have a great day. Thanks for joining us. Big ballers, Kevin.
I like it. Boy, those guys had unbelievable years.
You ain't lying.
After the play, personal foul, late hit out of bounds, defense, number 27, 15-yard penalty added to the end of the run. First down.
Yeah, and it was a good run by Detrez Newsome, too, by Petros was talking. Kamara he's a lot of fun as we look at the replay. Talking to him a couple weeks ago, you talked about Woodside and Drew Brees earlier, Joel. He said, you know, when he came to New Orleans, Drew, he just gives you the look. So if you mess up, there's not even a... There's just the look.
There's no chewing.
Right.
It's just it's like your parents, like your father when he looked at you, right? Makes your knees shake.
You know you're in trouble as Newsome gets another carry after the 14-yard run last time.
What's great about having guys like Alvin Kamara and Hunt here is that it gives these kids like these guys were later round draft choices, right? It just goes to show you it doesn't matter if you arrive by car, by bus, by train. It's just getting that opportunity and then taking the most of that opportunity as a smaller school kid and going out there and making something happen, which is it's just a great story, and it's great for these kids to see those guys who had so much success their rookie years.
He's out there again.
Go running again, and that time no such luck. So a couple good runs by Newsome, but that time no chance. James Crawford was there first.
This process can be taxing, you know, mentally, and you can doubt yourself as a player. In particular, some of these guys from smaller schools, right? Can I really go out there and do this? And I think what's so interesting is you talked about, like, however you can arrive, just arrive, right? Well, I would take that a step further, Mark, and it's, for me, the guys that arrive with the mindset that it's just the starting line, you know, and I think those are the ones that have success and go out there and make the most of their opportunities.
There's a 2-minute warning every quarter. Again, we told you there's some funky rules. No idea why that's in place, but that's the deal. We're back. Through the NFLPA Collegiate Bowl. The 2-minute warning in the first quarter. They're doing this every quarter. They get a chance to play 2-minute offense. Here's the kicker, though. If they have the ball and don't score, they go all the way back to the 25. So it's like a 2-minute drill. Bad pass, incomplete. He was looking for the tight end Marcus Baugh, and so a punting situation.
Just have not seen much execution out of the passing game. Which, you know, listen, these guys have worked together for like 3 days, you know,
exactly.
And it is tough to get on the same page in a passing game since and look real sharp. But these quarterbacks, I'm sure, will start to get their rhythm at some point today.
Yeah, they just started practicing this week as the Americans waiting back with Mitchell. Another one that was way overset in the end zone, and that's not what you want. And so 147 to go for the American squad. Same thing applies to them. They got 147. If they have the ball in quarter ends, they go all the way back to the 25. But let me ask you this: with that short week of practice, is there even such a thing as a 2-minute offense installed, or they're just going out and running some basic plays here?
I would think it's still basic, you know, just situationally, and you're limited of what you can do anyways, right? As far as with the rules of the game, but this is certainly the opportunity. I will tell you this from a quarterback standpoint: when you're forced to cut it loose, sometimes that can get you in rhythm. You know, you see a guy struggle the entire half, and then all of a sudden in the 2-minute drill, he completes a couple of passes and finds some rhythm. So I'll be interested to see if Luis Perez can get some rhythm right here.
Perez in trouble, looking to dump it off, and that is not going to work. Carter is upended on the play by Blaze Taylor.
I've always felt like when you're talking about rhythm, you know, people think, oh, you throw a bubble screen, you throw a little, you know, swing pass. I always think sometimes it's about ripping the ball down the middle of the field, throwing a post, and getting yourself feeling good about where you are right now.
Yeah, Carter for not much.
And you think about putting an offense together in 3 days. Everybody comes from a different system, so everybody speaks a different language. And now you're sitting there as a guard going, okay, in my offense, that was called this. Now I've got to transpose the schematics and make it this. Right. And so all 11 guys out there on offense are doing the same thing. They're trying to figure out how it relates to what they ran in college. And it really makes it a confusing thing to play offense in a short week like this.
And it's not the schematics that are difficult, it's the language.
Right.
You know, they know what the routes are and the protections are and how to block and all those things. It's just the ability to translate what they know that concept to be into what we're calling it this week, and you got to do it in 3 days.
Trying to listen in a little here. Timeout was called by the national team. Each team's got 2 timeouts in each quarter, so Nationals call one with 1:15 to go in this first quarter.
Heard offensive coordinator call out scat, means no back in the backfield. They're going to release him. All 5 receivers going to be out in a pattern.
Perez has time, fires downfield, and he's got a completion and a big one. Speaking of big, it's Valdez Scantling, who is a big dude, 6'3", 204.
And exactly what you were talking about, Mark, that you find rhythm by stepping up in the pocket and actually ripping it down the field. And Perez threw a beautiful ball right on time. It was kind of what's called a shake route. From the outside, he runs towards the post, then he comes back out to the corner. Ball's right on time, right on target.
And a 29-yard completion, the prettiest pass play of the day. They go back to him, and he's stymied right at the 44-yard line with the clock running under a minute.
Now you're starting to find that rhythm with one particular player. So you hit the shake route, now you come right back to the slant. You two are seeing the same thing. You're seeing the game the same way between quarterback and receiver right now.
Perez going to hand off to Carter. He's got a first down, and Carter dives his way down to the 36.
Get up onto the ball quickly, and they're going to call a timeout here for the American side.
Timeout.
Yeah, each team with 2,
American.
so they have 1
They're
left.
first in the quarter.
With 41 seconds left. While they call timeout, we will call a 30-second timeout. American squad on the drive. 41 seconds ago. Trying to listen into the huddle a little bit with Darryl Green and the American team on the move. Best drive of the day by anyone thus far. 41 seconds ago in the first quarter. Again, they play it each quarter like the end of a game here. So 1 timeout left, trying to punch it in a scoreless game. Here's Luis Perez. Get it to Carter, wide open. Carter dancing around, and he's inside the 25. Clock running. They've got to hurry. Under 20 seconds now. Perez fires far sideline. Catch is made and out of bounds, I do believe. Yes, it's Bird who made the catch.
There's a huge difference between the college game and the NFL game. See, in college, he's down inbounds, clock still running. In the NFL, he can just roll his way out of bounds, and he stops the clock. And now they've got something going here. Now with 12 seconds, they still have the timeout left in their pocket. So if I'm Luis Perez, I've got the entire field I can work with. I can work the middle of the field. I can work outside. I can go to the end zone. I can check the ball down to my back because I know I can still stop the clock.
Kicker is if they still have the ball at the end of the quarter, don't score, they go all the way back to the 25. So there's incentive. On the play fake all day. They're going to get it to Carter. Wide open inside the 10. Shoulder down. And Carter's out of bounds with 3 seconds to go in this first quarter.
Well, the check down was going to be what? Now, he had the post wide open. If he comes back to his right side, he had the post wide open. He could have thrown a touchdown, but he takes the check down. Carter is able to get out to the sideline and get out of bounds inside the 3, about the 2-yard line, and setting him up for at least a chance here to get in the end zone.
So how much of a kicker is this? 2 seconds left in the quarter. You either score a touchdown here, you go all the way back to the 25.
Go all the way back to the 25. Yeah, I mean, the incentive to score, obviously, is huge right here, right? Especially if you're an offensive lineman, because you're going to be sucking eggs after that drive, right? You're out of shape. You've just been kind of going walk-through practices. So, man, let's punch this thing in the end zone. Let's get to the sideline and suck some Gatorade, guys.
Let's listen.
Don't you think if we lined up and look like we're going to run it, they know we're going to throw it? Great faking. I don't think so. Hey. Yeah, I like this. Regular. Out of regular.
Near right, 724, ice wide banana.
So Z, make sure you get a pick on right. See what it is. Come here.
So far, this is an 8-play, 78-yard drive. In a strange way, I'm hoping that they don't get it, because I want to see like a 15-play, 170-yard drive. It'll be the first time in football history.
Now they're going to get into their pro set here, and at least the way I read that play call, 24 ISO wide banana, means that this is going to be a play action pass. So they're going to fake, run play to the right side, and try to get the tight end somewhere on that right side.
And there's a fumble, so none of that is going to happen. Who's got it? Nationals say they do. And that is the case. And again, it's Motua Polaka who has had a nice first quarter. He's the one to get on it, and the national team takes over. So they prevent a touchdown, they get the ball, and we're scoreless after one quarter from the Rose Bowl. So we start this second quarter, and the American team will have the ball, even though the national team recovered a fumble at the end of the first quarter. Because the national team started with it, they give it to the American team in the second quarter. Who knew until right now?
Certainly not I. Certainly not I.
Well, I can tell you this. They've got a new quarterback. It is John O'Corn from Michigan who is in there now, and they will run it to Dalen Dawkins, who gets the carry. So John O'Corn, who will take over the reins, at least temporarily. Luis Perez is a guy that started this game. Perez, 8 of 9 throwing the football. And so here's O'Corn. You saw a lot this year, Joel.
Yeah, you know, and here's the deal. John was essentially the backup quarterback. He goes in against Purdue, has a very good game against Purdue, and struggled thereafter to the point where he was benched for Brandon Peters. You could say it was maybe an injury, but Brandon Peters, the young quarterback from Michigan, came in after that.
Here is Looper on the end around. This guy can burn, and J.T. Looper has a nice gain. He's out near the 35-year line. He's an interesting guy. 5'7", 157 pounds, but his numbers this year were nuts.
Well, I mean, here's the thing is, you're talking about like an all-American caliber at the D3 level, right? And so he's from the University of Central Oklahoma. He's 5'7", 157 pounds, but he can do just about everything out there. Anytime you can get him the football, he's going to pay that off. He's solid in the return game. He was a finalist for that Harlan Hill Trophy as well.
110 catches, 1,593 yards, which is just crazy.
And you think about his spot in the NFL as you start looking at how you're going to go forward. You know, the jet sweep stuff, all the college spread stuff that has filtered its way into the NFL, where you're showing that eye candy, you're trying to hold defensive ends, you're trying to hold the backside of a defense so that you can attack the front side. And those speed guys that can do that, they give you those opportunities to implement some of that spread concept that we see so much in the NFL game today.
O'Corn going to throw the ball, and that is a grounder, incomplete. He was trying to get it to Adonis Jenkins out of Temple. You see a lot of the teams have, you look at that size, you wonder how big can he be in the NFL, but a lot of teams have kind of carved out a role for that type play. I mean, we talked about Tariq Cohen, similar, right?
Sure, and just look at the Rams, what they did with Tavon Austin. They took Tavon Austin and say, hey, listen, you're not really an X or a Z or even a slot receiver. You're more of a gadget guy, and we're going to use you that way and have great success. And so that's what teams are looking at, and scouts are looking at right here. Who can fill that role at the next level?
I think that you've seen the NFL game in the last few years as they get more of these type of players, because that's the way college football has gone. It's not so much anymore, hey, do you check the box of like height, weight, you know, intangible type of things. It's more, can you perform? Now, if you can influence a game in a positive way for us, then you're going to get a shot. And that's why guys like J.T. Looper, Tavon Austin, those type of, they've gotten a chance in the last 5, 6, 7 years in the NFL.
Dawkins and St. Just, 2 running backs in the game on a 3rd down and 7. O'Corn pressured, going to throw across the grain and waiting for a signal. He got a catch down there. Jennings comes up with it, and that'll be a 1st down. Nice play.
Nice play. Jennings coming back to the ball. O'Corn, look at him square his shoulders there, Joel. Squares his shoulders up, tries to drive the ball down to the sideline, checking to see if his feet are in.
What I loved is the wide receiver dropped out of his route. You know, because that's a scramble rule type of deal. And they were working on this earlier this week. But, Mark, when you're outside of the pocket, the worst thing in the world for a quarterback is for your wide receiver not to know that you're outside of the pocket and you're stressed, right? Jennings recognized that, drops out to the sideline, and creates the completion.
Yeah, 26 yards. So nicely done from O'Korn of Michigan to Jennings of Temple to Dalen Dawkins, who has had no room to run so far today. There is Ade Oruna, who has an interesting story in his own right, doesn't he, Joel?
No doubt about it. This guy is a very raw player. Oruna is originally from Nigeria, has not played a ton of football in his life, but highly productive at Tulane. Here's a guy who's got 19 tackles for loss on his career, 12 sacks. He's earned his bachelor's degree in Homeland Security Studies, but he's a guy that scouts have quietly really risen on their draft boards. It wouldn't shock me at all if Oruna at 6'6", 270 pounds is a late round draft pick come April.
Interesting. Dawkins 8 carries, 8 yards, and that one goes backwards. He hasn't had much help though up front.
No, he certainly hasn't. But getting back to Oruna, and you talked about him. I was talking to Martz on the sideline. Mike Martz, the head coach of the national team. He said, "I tell you," I said, "You think he's a practice squad guy?" He goes, "No. This guy is too good to be on somebody's practice squad. He is that effective in a game. He does that much disruption within a game. So he is going to get drafted. He's going to make somebody's roster. He's raw, but his talent just jumps off the screen."
And it's not just pass rushing either. He's got some real thump to him at 270 pounds. And Mark, he's got strong hands and he's good against the run.
3rd and long, 15 to be exact. Ball knocked away. He was trying to fit it in there, but A.J. Howard out of Appalachian State came on to knock it down.
Just a hair too late with that ball. Timing is everything. When you get better players on the field, windows close. Because O'Korn was trying to run up in the pocket, you see how that ball was late in terms of when the wide receiver broke out of his break. That ball's got to be there in the first step or two out of your break from a wide receiver perspective, or else it's going to be late and the defense can make a play.
Jordan Descalo will punt it away. He's doubling as the punter and the kicker today. Tries to drop it inside the 20, and will do just that. So Descalo struts his stuff, does his job, and we are still scoreless here from the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, a couple miles away from that gorgeous picture.
Why'd you throw so fast? Why'd you throw so fast?
Just saw him break early, and I just tried to get it to him.
No. See, when you start putting your own interpretations on that stuff, what happens?
Well, a little mic'd up with Mike Martz, who knows a little bit, just a smidge about offense, talking to Logan Woodside. Woodside done for now, 1 of 4 and an interception today.
Listen, I mean, that's the most subdued Mike Martz I've ever seen. Yeah, I saw it in a training camp, and it was not necessarily subdued.
He probably wasn't mic'd up when he was when he was getting after you.
No, that's the thing though, and that's part of the development. Breaking collegiate habits, you know, in particular from the quarterback position. That's tough to do.
Handoff goes nowhere to Newsom, but a new quarterback we showed you with Woodside out. Austin Allen out of Arkansas went out try his hand at it here today.
It's about the 3rd time we've seen just a lack of timing and continuity.
Yeah.
It's just a handoff, Joel.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, you think about the footwork and think about this. Most of the quarterbacks in the college game never play from under center. So this is a new skill these guys are trying to develop, and we see it right here in just the handoff, that those handoff skills aren't even there right now.
Well, and more than that, the backs haven't tracked downhill tailback runs.
Coming near side. That's not going to go very far to Newsom.
I tell you what, though, I love this game, right? I mean,
defenders just flying around.
At the end of the day, defenders are just flying around, trying to knock guys around. And I tell you what, it takes a special breed to go out there and put your nose in there and start making some hits. And I'm telling you what, that's good stuff right there. I love it.
Got a real close and personal look at Mike Hughes, number 95 out of UNLV. A little camera from one of our officials today. 3rd down and 6 coming up for Austin Allen and the national squad, looking for the first points here today. Allen in trouble, steps up, and down he goes. Bruce Hector out of South Florida, who had 7 sacks on the year in the interior coming through.
And 18 sacks in his career. This was more of a coverage sack, though, because Austin actually had a bit of pocket to work with, but there just was nowhere to throw the football down the field. Nice job by those defensive backs covering everyone up.
And that's the problem you get into when you talk about size at the quarterback position. At 6 foot, you'll get lost behind there as that pocket starts to collapse. Yeah. And it's hard to keep your eyes down the field and continue to see your receivers.
Steven Mitchell trying to return one. Bobbles, fumbles, it's loose. I think National has it. They say so, and so do the officials. Austin Proehl is the guy who picked it up. And so Mitchell with the drop, Proehl with the recovery for the national team. Good field position for them when we return. Austin Proehl had a fumble recovery. The names sound familiar because his dad, Ricky Proehl, won. Of course, that was his most famous moment, winning the Super Bowl with the Rams, coaching the league for a long time. 17-year player, gritty, great receiver, made one of the best catches in conference championship history in the Rams upset of the Bucks, and now his son Austin trying to get to the league.
And look at that, the spitting image of his father right there. Look at the face on that kid. And I'll tell you what, Ricky Proehl, I played against him many times. That guy was a football player, Jesse.
He could play
17 years.
Here's a fake. Allen has time over the middle, and that one should have been caught. It's the tight end DeAndre Goolsby, who's had a good week, but not there.
I mean, this ball was thrown perfectly. I mean, you talk about anticipating the window. Watch this. I mean, he's basically covered right over the linebacker, and it hits him right in the face mask. I mean,
Goolsby didn't even think that was coming. He's like, there's no way. I'm so covered right now. I am so completely covered. There's no way he's throwing this. Hit him right in the beam, man.
Pitch to Richard. Slips, cuts back, nothing. So after the turnover, Austin Allen about to come on the field. Let's listen to his chat with Mike Martz.
Don't be in a hurry when you play.
I got you.
Just slow down, you see how fast things will get going. And when you first get in there, we'll try and get you some quick throws.
Go with whatever.
12 or something like that. Well, it's good to get off a slant or something like that, and then we'll get going, okay? All right, this is double left 70 macho, okay?
So there's listening to Mike Martz, and we were talking about Proehl, right? Austin Proehl. So think about it. Torrey Holt is coaching on this team. He's a wide receivers coach. Mike Martz coached them both. There's a whole 6 degrees of separation thing happening here. This will be a 3rd down and 9, fellas. Allen pressure from the edge, cinches, but then more pressure, and down he goes. Antonio Girard.
Really, that initial pressure was Xavier Thigpen from Southern Mississippi, and Girard comes in and finishes all up from Central Florida. Great story for them, obviously, going undefeated last year. He was a guy a couple of years ago that was going to quit football, leave UCF. His girlfriend was pregnant. Scott Frost kind of talked him into staying at UCF, was a mentor to him as a father. They ended up staying, amending things, and he was at UCF for that undefeated season. Very cool stuff.
That's pretty great. And that is the way to go. Fortuitous bounce.
Pick it up. Give it to the ref. Give it to the ref.
Coaching to the final whistle, fellas. Pick it up and give it to the ref. There you go. Just outside Hollywood, Pasadena to be exact. Great day.
Why shouldn't there be a holiday to celebrate race?
Los Angeles. Sure, it's a beautiful day, so why not show you a couple of great shots and make you jealous of your freezing around the country. Here at the Rose Bowl, iconic. I mean, you can't get a better place for a football game. It's just picturesque around here, that's for sure. It's got to be a pretty cool experience for most of these kids here today.
A cool experience for a kid like me. I'm an old dude, but this is the first time I've ever stepped foot in the Rose Bowl.
Oh, really?
When you played at the University of Idaho, they didn't invite you to the Rose Bowl. I don't know if you knew that. But just to be out here, it's phenomenal. And you think about all the games you've watched over the history of this great stadium and all the Rose Bowl games. And heck, I remember watching you call a game earlier in the season with UCLA and what was it, A&M with a great comeback, just phenomenal
Rosen,
stuff.
the 34-point comeback.
Yes,
it's incredible.
So here's the American squad in the scoreless game. Diasimi St. Just. Left side fumble. It is Boy, it bounced right into Mitchell's hands. And the American squad keeps it, and they get a first down out of it.
You talk about being in the right place at the right time. Stephen Mitchell, wide receiver from USC. Not a very big guy, but he's battled through injuries in his career. He's able to get this recovery. And Petros, I know you know Stephen Mitchell pretty well. Stephen Mitchell's the type of guy that he's been at USC now and had some production. It wouldn't shock me if he's able to catch on maybe a practice squad or late round draft pick.
Petros, you alive? Just double checking. Maybe after this play, we'll see. Here's O'Corn on the roll, looking, firing, perfectly executed pass that is to William Dissly, a Petros favorite out of Washington, makes the catch, and Disley's got a gain of 15.
Always love those fake handoff, fake 19 handoff, boot keep to the right, and you try to run a tight end in the flat, and your backside tight end is running that drag across, and you get that layered route, and that's one of the staples of the West Coast offense right there, Joel, and it was executed beautifully down the field.
The key, I think, is to fully influence the run with the offensive line. It's not really the back's action as much as that offensive line. Their whole coaching port is reach and run, gap and a half.
St. Just is eaten alive at the line of scrimmage by John Franklin out of Stephen F. Austin. They've sent some players of the NFL before, guys like Larry Centers and Jeremiah Trotter and such. Petros, I hear you are alive down there.
Yes, yeah, I'm breathing down here,
Thank
guys.
Goodness.
It's a lot like you guys have said, especially with the mesh between the quarterbacks and the back understanding the offensive line and where they're going to move. There's just a little bit off there, and that's why we have a lot of this inconsistency, I think, in the run game so far.
Here is second down, and that one knocked down at the line of scrimmage. It was Franklin who got a piece of that one again. What's it on the sidelines down there, Petros, for a game like this? Is it chill? Is there a lot of chatter? Give us a little feel.
I think the guys are pretty excited. I mean, they're excited to be playing football. Now, you have to kind of create your own enthusiasm. You don't have the crowd that these guys are used to playing in front of, even the crowd at the Kibbe Dome that old Schlereth played in front of in Idaho. I mean, these guys don't have that going right now, but they're motivating each other. The coaches are coaching hard, and they are playing hard, but just hard to get a rhythm for both teams right now.
One thing I've noticed about Petros, look at the stance he's down there. He's crouched down, kneeling over, just showing off how flexibility he has in his knees, knowing that I can't bend down. I mean, that, you know what, you're wrong for doing that, Petros.
Feel good down here, guys. I feel agile. I played on this beautiful grass field at the Rose Bowl. They invited us a couple times.
Gosh, that must have been amazing. This is my, I mean, this is like my all-time favorite. There's not a venue in sport that I like better than the Rose Bowl. This is just gorgeous.
It's not that great when Cade McNown beats you by 20 and they throw a bottle at your head while you're walking off the field, though.
Well, that's true.
Good thing there wasn't anything in that head for that bottle to affect when it hit, though, Petros.
No doubt.
Here is the punt. Bounces around. Proles just going to let it go. And with 4 minutes to go in this first half, the national team takes over at their own 10. How about a little ref cam? That's what we like to call it. Get down, make the call, make the play. Scoreless game from Pasadena. Eagles, Vikings, and here the NFLPA Collegiate Bowl at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena. 3:55 to go in this first half. All these guys trying to find a way into the NFL, get drafted, sign with a squad, whatever it takes. And that's what we're watching here today with Joe Klatt, Mark Schlereth, Petros down on the sidelines. I'm Kevin Burkhardt. Our entire FS1 crew here today. Chuck McDonald at the producing controls. Jeremy Green directing this fine event. Here we go. And the national squad has it there in the dark uniforms, and that goes backwards to Ernsberger, the tight end.
We saw the American squad, who is in the white jerseys. They got a little bit of offense going when they were forced to get into a 2-minute situation. So they're going to have a 2-minute drill in every quarter in this game, because they're kind of, they do different things with the rules. But it's because they were forced to get aggressive and throw the ball down the field. I think that's what this national team has to do. Austin Allen at quarterback from Arkansas. Let him throw the ball down the field a little bit here.
He's got time, tipped at the line, and incomplete, nearly intercepted. Darius Jackson.
I tell you, these short quarterbacks are having such a hard time today, and these passes getting batted around, and the aggressiveness of these defensive linemen. All of them have good length, and right there, Aaron Tiller from Southern University gets in there and gets his left hand on the ball.
We always talk about penetration in the running game and how that ends up ruining the running game. Well, you get penetration inside the pocket between the guards and center, and it really disrupts the rhythm and the throws of the quarterbacks.
Pressure. Allen in trouble, and he's going to get sacked again. Allen's been under siege a little bit here. Peterson and Garrod were there.
I was waiting for Peterson to get in there. Okay, here's a guy from the University of San Diego. Peterson's number 99. Okay, and Peterson, he had 74.5 tackles for loss and 44 sacks. He's the all-time FCS sack leader with those 44 career sacks. He was an All-American, obviously, at the FCS level, and is able to get in there and not just sack in this ballgame.
18 sacks this year alone, which is unbelievable in a college season. And here's the punt. Nice move by Coleman, and then nowhere else to go. Now the question for Peterson is, how will his size translate? He is listed at 5'11", 226 pounds. As we take another look what it's like to be a returner. And I'm curious, guys, you know, I know we were talking about roles before and how these teams find guys, but so here's a guy's defensive end in college, obviously numbers off the charts, but how do you view him that size, obviously for a DE too small?
Well, you look at a guy like Elvis Dumervil, 5'11", 245 pounds. Now, all you sit there and say, okay, how are we going to use this guy? And I think the beauty, you know, Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots will play this weekend, and one of their mantras as an organization is, let's not talk about what a guy can't do. Let's not worry about what he isn't. Let's worry about what he is. Can we put him in a position? Can you place him outside linebacker and be a nickel rush end when we're in sub packages? Because that's all we really need the guy for.
Here's O'Corn looking to take a shot deep. Jennings in double coverage, and Jennings somehow hauled it in. Adonis Jennings from Temple delivering.
I mean, just an incredible catch. He was sandwiched between two defenders, and the ball kind of finds its way to him, and he's able to catch it right off the helmet of the defender, and he's able to take it to the ground. That's just great concentration. I guarantee you, every scout that either watches this film or is watching live right now, they all just sat up in their seat and kind of like, oh, well, that's interesting right there. Heck of a play.
Something else. 35 yards, and now the American squad in business. 2-minute warning, first half. Scoreless game.
On defense. Go, you splitting hairs. You splitting hairs. They can know we're going to cover 2. Mike Martz is under pressure. I ain't under pressure. He's under pressure.
That's great.
Well, Mike Martz has won 4 in a row of these, right? So he's got a little pressure to keep that record going.
Love it. Darryl Green.
Sure looks like it, right?
Hall of Famer. 20 years with the Redskins. Pro Bowls, Super Bowl winners, you name it. Of course, your former teammate, Mark. He says he's under no pressure. How about his team? 1st and 10, trying to punch one in. O'Corn incomplete. Trying to get it out to Dawkins in the flat.
So the most important characteristic of throwing the ball inside of the 10-yard mark is accuracy. Ball placement. You've got to do what's called communicate with your ball placement at all times, whether it's zone and you're just checking the ball down to the back. You've got to put it on a certain shoulder and you're telling him where the defender is at behind him. If you've got a back running into the flat, you've got to put it right on his chest, leading him towards the sideline so that he can run after the catch. That's what scouts are looking for from quarterback play when they're throwing the ball inside of 10 yards.
O'Corn 3 of 8, 76 yards. Here's going to be a draw. Carter trying to sprint to the edge. Nothing doing. As Blaze Taylor came up from the secondary to make a hit.
I love Blaze Taylor. Blaze Taylor was a National Football Foundation National Scholar Athlete, one of 13 in the country. And those are basically your 13 finalists for the Campbell Trophy. The Campbell Trophy is known as the Academic Heisman. Blaze Taylor, he's a terrific returner. He's had a heck of a career at Arkansas State, 102 tackles, 6 interceptions, 30 passes defended. So he's playing well so far today.
Amazing when you earn 2 degrees before your playing career is over. That is something else academically. Carter the fake. O'Corn all day throws it in. Disley, the tight end, trying to get to the marker, is going to come up short. And he's shoved out of bounds around the 6 with 1:06 to go in the half.
That is amazing. 2 degrees. I graduated thank you cum laude. That's what I graduated. So, you know, general studies degree, don't ask me anything specific. But that's incredible. And
generally, I know what's going on.
Right. Generally, I usually know what's going on. I will tell you this about Blaze Taylor, and just running up in run support like that, just from a leverage standpoint, head on the outside shoulder, drive through the outside leg, make sure if you miss that tackle, you're forcing that running back to get back inside where the pursuit and the help comes from. And that's just smart football. That's understanding leverage as a defender.
Here's Jordan Descalo from 24 yards out, trying for the first points of the game. Nope. And Descalo not having the finest day field goal wise. Again, more the punter this year.
The laces in practice, almost every one of his misses, they're either short or to the right. So clearly kind of a technique issue there. And again, in Jordan's defense, he didn't kick field goals all year at Eastern Washington. He's being asked to do that. He was more the punter, and he's having a rough day here today.
You just said that, his misses are either short or to the right. There's only one other way to go, Joe. To the left. I'm just saying.
I get it, but
or he hooks him to the left. No. But beyond that, it's just been solid.
I'm just giving you a tendency. I'm just giving you a tendency.
Messing with you. It's just fun.
Natural ball flight.
Anyway, we're still scoreless. There's a minute to go. Here's Allen for the National. Can someone get on the board? Talked about accuracy. That's an accurate pass to Phil Yaw out of the backfield on a first down with the clock ticking.
You see him climb the pocket, put it on his running back with an opportunity to catch the ball and run with it. That's what you're looking for. Those are the kind of things that to me, are the difference maker between a guy keeping drives alive and obviously having to line up and punt.
Allen in trouble, spins away, keeps the play alive, throws across his body, and he's got a completion. That's a heck of a play by Allen. It's Philly again, and with 26 seconds left, waiting to see if they call a timeout.
Timeout.
They do.
And Joel, that's one of those you're always told as a quarterback, hey, don't ever throw it late over the middle of the field after you scramble around. But it worked out there, huh?
Listen, every coach over the side was like, no. Yes, way to go. Good play.
Nationals trying to get some on the board for the half. And no, yes.
No, yes.
Boy, you better be sure. That's it. I mean, that's the only coaching point on that. It's like, if you're going to do that, you better be sure. And it ends up being a great completion.
That was pretty good. 4 of 6, 46 yards passing. 27 seconds to go in the half. They got one timeout left. They're coming to the near side, and that's caught by Shedd, who breaks a tackle inside the 25. Brandon Shedd out of Hobart.
I mean, Ali Marpet out of Hobart as well.
Yeah.
Guy drafted by Tampa Bay, started at guard, started at center this year. Really good program, obviously. Put some players in the National Football League out of, what is it, a Division III, I believe, Hobart.
Yep. He was Brandon Shedd. Guys, he caught a pass in 31 straight games to end his career. So he's been productive. 6'2", good frame.
Allen's been pretty incredible during the course of this.
First down. We want to throw this thing out of bounds if you don't like it, okay? We're really thinking that, just throw it, and if you don't like it, throw it out of bounds too. We don't need a completion for 5. Okay? That's what I'm trying to do. Gun double left, ace left, 212 shakes. Tell the halfback to line up on the right and chip the end.
So gun double right is the formation. Ace right is the protection. And then 212 F flat is the concept. They use the digit system, and so 2 route is, it's a route. The 1 obviously is like a kind of a little, almost like an out route from your number 2 receiver, and then the F is in the flat. So they're trying to, it seems like, work the outside of the field. They absolutely have to here at this point because they don't have any timeouts left.
Right. 19 seconds ago, still scoreless. Austin Allen has looked pretty sharp in his time in the game here. Trouble here, and that is not going to help their cause. Aaron Tiller. Clock ticking. 5 seconds. Will they get one more playoff? They will spike it with 2 seconds on the clock, so they'll have one last shot.
Yeah, that's the one. Even it's really difficult to do as a quarterback. But you heard John Kitna say, "Hey, if, you know, just throw it out of bounds." So basically, if something bad is happening to you, you throw it 3 or 4 yards over the furthest wide receiver on the outside, over his head, out of bounds. And that's a position where taking a sack is kind of a critical error for your team there.
Eric Powell is on, and he's going to try a 52-yard field goal here. But how about this, a little icing of the kicker by Darrell Green. So Powell will have to think about it as the American team calls timeout. Powell has his range, his career long is actually 56 yards.
Jeff Robinson, special teams coach for the national group, talking to his guys. Jeff Robinson, University of Idaho grad, played with him at Idaho, also played with him at the Denver Broncos. So got a bunch of former guys that I played with here on these coaching staffs. Darrell Green, Brian Mitchell, a great special teams player for us in Washington.
Oh, sure.
Played in Philadelphia, played all over the place, but a phenomenal, very first kick return that Brian Mitchell ever got. We're playing a game against the Atlanta Falcons in North Carolina. He catches the kickoff return in the fourth quarter. We're all standing there as an offensive lineman watching, goes 99 yards for a touchdown. I turn to Jeff Boss. I go, well, I guess he made the team. And became a great special teams player for us for a very long time.
Here's a good look for Powell, trying to make somebody's team next year. Snap and hold are good. Powell's got the leg, and no, a little shy. Picked up by Coleman, looking to make a play, gets a block. Coleman stays in, makes a man miss, and finally tackled out of the 30, and that will do it for the first half. So Powell came up a little short, exciting return by Coleman, but you get a look at this. That's from the back judge. Back his camera that he's wearing right here. There you go. So we end this first half scoreless, and down to the sidelines we go. Petros is standing by with Mike Martins.
Coach, how do you get these guys going in the second half, get the offense to play a little more consistently?
Well, it's not the offense. We agreed to play certain defenses in this game, and we lined up and we're seeing all these defenses we've never seen before. Then we got 1 week to get these kids ready. It's about them. For some reason, we decided over here on the other side that we're going to play a bunch of defense. I don't know what's going on. This is embarrassing.
So they're stunning and doing things that they're not supposed to.
It's a defense. It's a different front, and we're supposed to play one front. We all practice against the same front. And all of a sudden, all this, I don't understand it. I don't get it. I'm very frustrated and angry about it.
Well, good luck working it out at halftime, Coach. Thank you very much. All right. They got a lot to work out at halftime, Kevin.
Well, we got a little controversy, I think. That was interesting. You were only allowed to play base defense in this, no stunting, no gaming, and Mike Mart's not happy. Wow.
Yeah, apparently they have not gone over the if you're not cheating, you're not trying defense over there. So they're going to have to fix that one up.
Controversy here at the NFLPA Collegiate Bowl. We don't have a single point. Halftime show coming up. So
I don't think they're listening.
But if you flag it, they can't do it.
Well, Tom basically told them if they run that KC front again, they're throwing the flag. So they've been officially warned of that. So he said they've been officially warned to Darrell that if they run that again, and they said we're sorry, it was just a kid who was in a misalignment.
Well, that is interesting. We are scoreless as we head into this third quarter, and you heard Mike Morris. He was hot talking to Petros going into the break. How the other team, Darrell Green's team, is playing illegal fronts. In this game, bottom line is you can't do any stunts. You can't do anything like that. Is he right?
Well, and it's not for competitive factors. It's just so that we can see what these kids can do, right? This is a developmental game, and so that we can evaluate if this kid has the ability to play football at the next level. And he is right. We took a look at some of the video of the first half, and there's no doubt about it. The American squad was not only intentionally playing some illegal fronts. It wasn't a misalignment. There was an intentional illegal front and an intentional stunt where they actually had the tackle loop on the outside, the end come on the inside. They got a sack out of it. So it's just one of those things that it's not what you want out of this game. There's the stunt, as you clearly see that left end come looping around into the inside. He gets a batted ball out of it, and it's so difficult from a lineman's perspective, Mark, because they haven't practiced together with these protections against some of those looks or stunts or something along those lines, and that's why it's been hard for them to move the ball.
Right, a 3 technique normally is a guy that's right over the outside edge of the guard.
Right on the guard's shoulder.
Right on the guard's shoulder, and what you saw on that particular video is that guy moved all the way to the inside eye of the offensive tackle.
So if I'm the tackle, Mark's the guard, now this player's on my shoulder, which makes him a 4-eye.
Which we call a 4-eye, and now it does 2 things. 1, it confuses you on who you're supposed to block. 2, if you decide, okay, now I've got to kick out to this guy, you kick out, you get your shoulders turned because he's so wide. Here comes the looper back inside, and that is exactly what they did on that particular play that we showed you. There's several others that we saw that were quote-unquote misalignments. I think they were intentional alignments like that creates confusion up front for a group that, let's face it, has only practiced for 3 days. It's really hard to get in sync with everybody else up front.
Well, that's the point, right? I mean, you're with 3 practices. You don't want to get the quarterbacks killed here. You're trying to make it fair for those things, but that's interesting. Certainly didn't expect any controversy in this game. It's an all-star game as these guys trying to get noticed and get into the NFL, and now just really curious to see not only how this is played, but how this is officiated.
Yeah, because remember, the officials can throw a flag on these things because it's not the rules. And the reason Mike is frustrated is because his players are not being allowed to go and operate their system and be evaluated, right? Because they're just getting overmatched by schematics. Well, that's not the point of the game. Point of the game, again, is to evaluate these players for the next level, which is why everything's so vanilla and so basic. Just let them go play football, and it's not about the win and the loss, and the American side has made it a little bit more about the win and the loss rather than just the developmental aspect of the game.
Let's hear more from the other side. Let's hear from Darrell Green, who's downstairs with Petros.
Now, Coach, we talked to Mike Martz going in, and he was upset about fronts, illegal stunt.
I ain't worried about Mike Martz. I'm worried about this team over here. That's all I'm worried about.
How do you get these guys going in the second half, get some offense moving?
We did some good things, but you're right. You hit the right head on the nail. But our offensive line and our quarterbacks got to take over the game from an offensive standpoint. Defense got to keep doing what they're doing.
All right, good luck. Thanks, Coach. Not worried about Mike Martz. Kevin?
Well, he didn't answer it. That's the bottom line. You see the competitive fires of these guys coming out.
Yeah, but candidly, it's not about your team. It's about, it's a little bit like minor league baseball right now. That's what's so difficult. You're trying to play a team sport, but you're trying to allow individuals to go out there and prove their worthiness to the next level. So all due respect, it's not about your team.
It's about giving these kids the best opportunity to shine in these circumstances so they can show their wares to the scouts and the evaluators at the next level. And you can't do that if you're in illegal fronts and you're doing things that haven't been, let's be honest, they haven't been practiced, and that's what makes it so hard on these kids.
And the American squad has 4 sacks. National squad, none. I'm sure that has something to do with it. American squad will take the kickoff, and they'll start this third quarter with the football.
We're going to see real quick how upset Mike Martz is.
Yes.
His defense is about to come on the field.
Yeah, we're going to see if they're going to adhere to the rules or if they're going to fight a little fire with fire.
Right,
and,
exactly.
And that becomes a problem. Then you're talking about risking injury to your quarterbacks, risking injury to your running backs, and nobody wants to see that. So I hope they play it straight and they get it rectified. The officials are warned so they can see it, and we'll see exactly how this goes.
This is the front they're supposed to be playing right now. It's called over.
Meanwhile, Kenny Hill, the quarterback, just drops the football on the ground. And it is recovered by the Nationals. Frank Herron is the guy who recovered it. First snap for Kenny Hill out of TCU, and he just fumbled it away.
Well, and this is a guy that did not have a lot of snaps under center in his collegiate career. He started at Texas A&M before transferring to TCU, and you're trying to get a play action pass, and he's just not used to doing that. You know, it's one of the first times he maybe has done that in 4 or 5 years, maybe since high school. Puts the ball on the ground and turnover ensues.
Yeah, he gets a little width in that reverse pivot out. His feet get caught up on the running back's feet, goes down to the ground and lays the ball down there. Ball security is your number one job. Certainly didn't have it there.
And a good run down near the goal line. It's David Williams who has it. Meanwhile, new quarterback too, Peter Pujols, comes in for his first snaps of the day for the Nationals.
Quarterback from Holy Cross, threw for 11,000 yards and 84 touchdowns in his career. That's just incredible production, and see if he can translate that here to this level.
Looking for the first score of this game. We are gonna get it. It's a touchdown. They give it to the fullback Daniel Marks, and Petros is a happy man.
That fullback. There's a great number too. Best offensive lineman Stanford had all year.
Daniel Marks, boy, I tell you what, he's had a good week too from a fullback perspective. Obviously, you're not going to measure his production, but does he come in there? Is he physical in the run game? Can he pass protect? Does he catch the ball out of the backfield? And he has checked all of those boxes.
And check this out for Marks. It's the first time he's ever scored in his entire collegiate career. So there you go.
Come on, David Shaw. What's this? He's giving all the love to Bryce Love. Can't give a little Daniel Marks way.
And so our first points of the afternoon with Daniel Marks plunging it home, and now Powell will try the extra point. It's up and it is good, and it's 7-0 Nationals. So we had a little controversy at the half. We had a turnover to start the third, and we have a touchdown for the first time today. Nationals go up in front. Little fullback.
The Great Emperor Penguin Migration.
The fullback from Stanford punches home the first score of the day after the turnover. So the National squad with a 7-0 lead over the American squad here in the NFLPA Collegiate Bowl.
Look at him right there. Kind of a mixture between Joe Dirt and Troy Polamalu with that hair. Love it. It's getting down, getting dirty.
It's quite the mixture there. I tell you what, that's creative.
Oh, sure.
Wonder if he's ever been compared to Joe Dirt before. I'm not quite sure.
Probably
so
not.
Kenny Hill, his first snap, he fumbled. Let's see if he can do better this time around. And he's got it into Dalen Dawkins' hands, who hasn't had much room today at all. But, you know, we talking earlier in the day about Austin Prohl and his father Ricky. Well, Dalen Dawkins has some pretty good bloodlines as well. You probably have heard of his uncle at some point, who's a Hall of Fame finalist right now.
Brian Dawkins, one of the best ever.
Weapon X.
Did you cross paths at Denver? Or were you gone by that point?
No, I'm quite a bit older than him, but
I'm trying to give you credit.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
Here's Dawkins trying to get to the edge, just so hurdles a tackle, and he's got a first down.
You know, that's it. It's one of those skills right there that probably goes unnoticed at times. Your ability to have awareness, just spatial awareness of your feet, and you see him hop up just enough to get himself through there and make that run. Nice job with the feet and the awareness of where the defenders are. And Brian Dawkins, his uncle, well, one of the best that's ever played the game. That guy was intense. What a leader he was for the Eagles all those years, and then finishing his career in Denver.
Dawkins at 1,709 yards from scrimmage this year for Colorado State. Not much there.
He went up there and had a sensational career. 3,300 yards in his career. That's third all time for Colorado State rushing the football. So doing a great job for Mike Bobo and that program. It's the one that I grew up kind of almost idolizing. I know I ended up going to Colorado, but I always loved Colorado State, and it's great to see those guys have some success.
second down. Good cut, good move, first down.
They're getting some good movement up front. You know, the biggest tell, Mark, is can you get the double team move to the linebacker, and they're certainly doing that. Center guard getting blocked and then covering up that second level. It's an excellent job by that front.
It is, and then Dawkins, the awareness not only from the running back position to make that cut, to get to the outside, but as you get into traffic, covering that ball with both hands, making sure you secure the ball at the end of the run, doing a really nice job there.
13 carries, 30 yards for Dawkins, and one of his better ones today. Fake it to him here. Hill, though, in trouble, just has to throw it away as he was about to get belted. He was in the direction of Dantes Bird, but John Franklin had pressure.
Isn't that the problem, though, when you start these all-star games and you're like, we're going to run this boot keep out the backside, and we're going to really sell hard down on the run to the left side, and then guess what? The defensive end, it doesn't get coached up, and he's like, I'm not even going to pay attention to any of that run fake stuff. I'm just getting up the field, and that just blows the whole play up.
That can be the problem with those big run action passes, is that you're banking on the fact that the defense is going to do their job.
Right.
And in an all-star game, sometimes that's not the case.
Right. John Franklin pushing up the outside edge there, just blows it up.
Dawkins up the middle and finding a little bit of a groove now as Dawkins getting some blocks, and he's found his way down to the 44. So
and Joel mentioned it too, the front side double team, getting that double team secured, getting that line of scrimmage pushed up to the second level. So many times in football, you see that double team, they come off of that too quick. They want to jump up to the second level. They want to go attack those linebackers. Those linebackers have to come to you eventually. So if you secure the line of scrimmage, you give that back in 2 yards automatically. And now what can you do to be special once you break the line of scrimmage with those initial 2? Can you make it 5? Can you make it 6? Dawkins is doing that right now.
3rd down and 3. Martez Carter's got a first down. The drive continues on the ground here for the American squad.
Boy, they are running the football well, and a big part of that is that they've got Matt Gono, number 72. He's the left guard. He gets a block there. He's obviously going to block to the whistle, but this whole entire drive, he's had, you know, the key double team or the key block at the second level to get them loose and down the field. And he's a guy that all the coaching staff talked about. He's from Wesley University, but Matt Gono, the left guard right now, is playing very well, and he's a guy that has opened up a lot of eyes this week.
8th play of the drive, all running the football here, except for that one pass attempt that did not go. It was kind of a sling by Hill to the far sideline, and they get it off to Looper, who's got the catch, and he's got another first down.
Oh, formational, you get in a 2-tight formation. You have your running back. You just have 2 wide receivers out. You see one of the wide receivers has got a 12-yard cushion. It's one of those, hey, RPOs, we don't even have to call it. We see he's uncovered, and we've got that formation, and everybody's lined up. You know, you got 9 guys lined up in that box area. Just sling it out there real quick, sidearm. See what your receiver can get you.
12-yard gain there. Drive continues. From the 24, it's Carter dancing through the hole. Carter down to the 15. And a 9-yard pickup.
How about our guy? I'm going to talk about some offensive line play. He's going to go into the nose guard and then get himself all the way up to the linebacker. That's just a great job. I mean, it doesn't look like much, Mark,
right,
but you are a great guard. I mean, just that little movement, gets contact on the nose and then gets contact on the linebacker.
He's coming down from his left to his right on that nose, but the whole time keeping his eyes just outside to see what that linebacker does. And as soon as he fires his gun and shoots the gap, he comes off it subtly, picks it up. It wasn't a devastating block, but gives the back an opportunity to cut up inside that and get positive yardage. That's the nuance of playing up front.
And then check this out. Where do you go? Right behind him again. Look
Come
at this
on.
movement. Movement, movement, movement. Getting up to the linebacker. Movement, movement, movement. I'm telling you, Matt Gono from Wesley, 50 games started and 50 games played in college. He's doing a heck of a job. I mean, he is just wearing them out right now from his left guard spot.
That's why I keep running the ball, right? I mean, 10 plays on this drive, 9 runs, and now a 1st and goal from the 8. Carter, and it spins away from a tackle, which would have been a big loss, and still nowhere to go. And Carter is buried. Had no chance as Darius Jackson blew that play up.
you got to rely on your quarterback. You know, you get a negative play like that, you got to stand in there and you got to make a throw. And so Kenny Hill will be asked to do that.
Miscommunication between center and left guard there. Gono, who we've given so much love to, but you're 100% right. Now you got to ask your quarterback to make a throw.
Second and goal. They give it to Dawkins, who tries to sprint right, and there's not much of a hole there. And a third and goal from the 14-yard line coming up.
Based on your field goal, your inconsistencies of your field goal team right now, are you in 4-down territory? I mean, you're down by a touchdown, 7-0.
I certainly would be. I mean, Jordan Descalo is just, you know, he didn't attempt any field goals during the year. He's missed 2 already today. So why not let your offense go out there? So in that point, get half at least of this back. Get inside the 10-yard line to make a 4th down more of a manageable down. If they don't gain a yard here, they'll probably attempt the field goal. If they get down to the 6 or 7-yard line, I'd probably say they would go for it.
Hill rolling, looking. Now he's going to tuck it and run, and he's going to do exactly as you said, Joel. He's going to get half. And now a makeable, at least reasonable 4th and goal if they decide to go. And they won't. As Jordan Descalo is going to come on the field. Descalo 0 for 2 today. Missed a 24-yarder his last time. Try for redemption. This will be from 27. And so Descalo's woes continue today, as for the first time he misses left.
Well, Joel had broken him down earlier. Right and short's been a problem. Now we've got them all 3 covered.
We're going to break.
Why didn't you just lie and tell that guy you had a boyfriend?
I just don't want us to forget.
We're never in a process of labor peace.
You are up against the most powerful economic entity in the United States of America.
I understand what this struggle is all about.
Know that our union will
Sure as I'm standing here.
stand side by side.
If you're prepared to fight for it.
Step in step.
We're talking about changing the system.
Arm in arm.
We're talking about
the brave efforts that millions of workers worldwide have taken throughout history.
And be treated with the dignity and respect that you deserve.
Well, Fox NFL Sunday crew they've landed in Philly and they decided to go to Geno's to get some steaks. I mean, who could blame them, right? Actually, temperature's not going to be that bad in the 50s for the NFC Championship game tomorrow. 6 Eastern coverage on Fox and on Fox Sports Go. Eagles, Vikings. Nice little afternoon for the fellas.
You guys from the NFL all year do a great job, obviously, for us at NFL on Fox. You got a feeling? Hunch, one way or the other?
Gosh,
Minnesota, Philly?
My only thing I'll say is that, no, I don't, but, you know, it's hard to be an underdog when you're the #1 seed at home, and I get the quarterback once is out for the year, but Philadelphia's defense is pretty good. It's going to be low scoring and ugly and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I tell you what, though, when you watch the Minnesota Vikings play, all 3 levels of their defense elite.
Yeah.
All 3 of them. Corners, safeties, linebackers can run. Fletcher Cox and the rest of that defensive line, or excuse me, that's on the Philadelphia side, but Linville Joseph and Griffin and those guys on the defensive line for Minnesota, they're phenomenal.
You know, one of the guys is kind of a couple of them. I know Anthony Barr and Kendricks.
Yes.
Eric Kendricks, who I covered a lot right here at their home stadium here, being from UCLA. And Kendricks has been really good for them. Guy can run sideline to sideline, physical.
#1 defense in the NFL. Yards and points. That's pretty hard to do. So we shall see.
Way to go out on a ledge, guys. No picks given.
Oh, I took Minnesota.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, I did take Minnesota. It was Kevin that was.
I think I took.
Way to go, Kevin.
I'll give you Philly. How about that?
All right.
All right. Philly. Play the underdog card.
I'll take Bama.
Late to the party.
Oh, right.
On that one. Pouilleur's going to throw it. Hits Newsom and the flat. Oh, nice little spin. Out of across the 25. Detrez Newsome from Western Carolina. She led the FCS subdivision in all-purpose yards this year, racking them up.
Also had 109 catches in his career, so this is something that he's used to doing. He's comfortable in space. Does a great job there of making people miss. That's another thing scouts are going to love about Newsome, is the ability in space to break a tackle, gain positive yards.
And when your quarterback puts it on your hands out in front of you with a chance to catch it and see the defenders coming, well, then it gives you the opportunity to make a few people miss.
One what's crazy about that is Mitchell goes nowhere, as Newsome led the FCS in all-purpose yards, and he missed 3 games with an injury. That's pretty good.
That's incredible.
Hang 10 here on the beaches in Los Angeles. 7-0 national team. To be honest, not a whole lot. 7-0 the national leads. They got a touchdown run from Daniel Marks, their fullback out of Stanford. His first career touchdown. Good for him there. And then 3 missed field goals by the American team. And Jordan Descalo from 24, from 27, and from 43. And that is the story of the game. So the Americans have the football back again. 1st and 10. 4:03 to go in the 3rd quarter. Subtle reminder, there's a 2-minute warning at the end of every quarter, so kind of like an end of the game type situation. Throwing it out as Hill is going to connect to the fullback. It's Austin Ramish out of Wisconsin. I mean, isn't every fullback out of Wisconsin a pretty good player?
Yeah,
you better believe it.
It seems like it.
You better believe it.
Isn't that the typical right there? That's a combination of the West Coast offense. They call that a drag flat, right? Or dragon if you're calling it on the line of scrimmage. The fullback runs the flat. You run a slant behind it with your X receiver, and that is a staple of the West Coast offense.
2nd down and 4. Hill to throw. Pumps. Looks. Still looking. Throws and dropped. Garrett Hudson, the tight end, had his hands on it. Couldn't bring it in.
You know, Kenny Hill is a guy that's got a lot of talent. You know, he's not the biggest guy in the world. He's 6'1", 215 pounds, but he did complete 64% of his throws. Remember, at TCU, though, a lot of those were that short style, quick style passing game. Threw 64 touchdowns in his career. He does have good bloodlines. His dad, Ken Sr., won 117 games in 14 years in the big leagues and was 2nd in the '94 Cy Young race when he was playing for the Expos.
Former Expo, former Ranger, is St. Just with a short game, and that'll bring up a 4th down. Kenny Hill, you forget, you got to go back, Joel. He's a backup for Johnny Manziel. Initially, his first game, he went nuts. His first college game, 511 yards, 4 touchdowns.
A lot of people, you know, he got the nickname Kenny Trill, and to be honest, and he would admit this, and I've talked to him about it at length, it went to his head, you know, and he had to leave A&M. He didn't have a place to go right away. He had to go to a junior college in the area and just kind of get himself together before Gary Patterson kind of brought him in at TCU. And he's certainly a different person now and really had a good career there for the Horned Frogs.
Fair catch for Prohl, and so the national team forces a 3-and-out. Their lead, their football from the Rose Bowl.
College football season.
I mean, besides that.
Oh, no, they're not besides
right.
that.
I mean, March Madness is great.
I do love March Madness.
Oh, it's so much fun.
I think if you're comparing it to February regular season ball, then yes, March Madness is absolutely better.
All right.
I am excited to see this year because correct me if I'm wrong, Kevin. I know you're more involved with college basketball. It seems like there's a lot of really talented teams that could claim that they're the best team. There's not that clear-cut number one team.
There's not a number. There's not a number one, like, you know. There's not like that Kentucky team that's, you know, that's going to be undefeated or anything like that. There's a lot of teams that could really have a stake for the number one. Is incomplete. Got a little aggressive there, as we now have hit the 2-minute warning of the 3rd quarter here at the NFLPA Collegiate Bowl. So because we do that, we're in Los Angeles and it's sunny and warm, we're going to show you some really pretty pictures.
Right, tell him, hey, chip through his shoulder on your way to your check down. Take your drop, set set their pass rush with your drop and play to play. You know they're going to move late. They're going to move late. That's what they do.
Wrap is a big play.
You want it?
Tight end.
You want it?
Yeah, let's go laser wrap.
Okay, laser wrap. Laser wrap. Tell the back to line up on the other side.
Well, let's see if Peter Pujols listens, and he gets taken down, but we get a penalty flag as well. We get two, actually, one behind the line and one back in the secondary. Oh, I love this look, guys.
That little ref huddle.
There are fouls by both teams on the play. Holding. Defense, number 26. Holding. Offense, number 66. Those fouls offset. Replay, third down.
So we got a real good view of Justin Elliott, our referee today. Again, we have a couple of our officials wearing those GoPro cams on their hats. Really cool stuff. So it brings up a third down and 6. Pujols looking, firing, and no, incomplete.
Good coverage out there by Ezekiel Turner from Washington. He's a safety for the Huskies. Really good player over the last couple of years. And you see he just gets that left hand in right late at the catch point. You know, so many times these defenders are taught to defend the catch point. You're not defending necessarily the player, but the catch point, in particular right after contact. And he gets in there, does a great job with that left hand.
Another great look from our Vaquero cams here at the Rose Bowl. And so a punting situation. National team will punt it away up 7-0. 1:44 to go in the third. Mitchell, fair catch inside the 20. And that's where the American squad will take over. 1:35 to go. Again, they play this like an end of a game 2-minute scenario. So they've got 1:35 and 2 timeouts at their disposal. See if Darryl Green's crew can work it down the field.
Were you in the back? You up front?
The last time the American team had this situation in the first half, remember they started it with that shake route toward the sideline, a deep route. They got themselves into a little bit of a rhythm. That was Luis Perez that made that throw down on the sideline, and then they actually put their best drive of the game together. So let's see if they go with a similar kind of strategy here to actually push the ball down the field a little bit.
Kenny Hill remains in at quarterback. Gets a 1st and 10. Hill pressured, steps right into a sack.
You got to get going here because remember now, nothing to stop the clock. 2-minute drill, even though it's the third quarter. 2-minute drill here.
1:17 and counting. Abdullah Anderson out of Bucknell had that sack. 2nd and 14. There's going to be a draw. Carter out across the 20. And 3rd down and long with just over a minute to go.
Let's look at Kenny Hill in the pocket now, because he's going to have to stay in the pocket and try to get this ball down the field. He can't get antsy and take off.
And over the middle, incomplete. And 4th down is coming up. So that's certainly not what the American squad was looking with. 48 seconds to go. The national squad will get it back, and via these rules in this game, national squad actually will have it to start the 4th quarter too. So they'll have 48 seconds to try and score something, and then they'll automatically get it to start at the 25-yard line in the 4th quarter. Nationals got with 2 returners all day long, with Prohl and Taylor back there. This one going towards Taylor's side. He's returned 4 punts for touchdowns in his career. Makes the first man miss, not the next 2. And so 36 seconds and 2 timeouts for the national team here.
All right, let's go laser wrap. Laser wrap. Check. I'm with you.
Looks like they're going back to Logan Woodside, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. How many plays do you think they get in 3 practices with this whole team?
Oh gosh, in team, are you saying, or like,
well,
in general?
Just in general. How much can you get in 3 days?
In team periods, in full team periods, maybe 42, 45, about 15 a day. Wouldn't you say, Mark? 15 team plays in a practice period?
Sure. And then it comes down to how many total plays do you have? How many 3-step drops? How many 5-step drops? How many 7-step drops? Like, what exactly concept-wise? How many concepts do you have in your offensive playbook? Because, you know, in a normal offensive playbook, you're probably taking a game like this and paring it down. 2/3 of it, you're just kind of canning.
I mean, I'd say even more. I doubt that they've got more than 10 passing concepts, you know, with about 4 of them being 3 steps, 6 of them being 5 or more in terms of trying to get the ball down the field.
Well, that's interesting. Second down here, and they're going to have a draw play. Newsom, nowhere to go. Clock ticking down. With 20 seconds left, and they don't seem to care because they're going to get the ball to start the 25 in the next quarter anyway. To try and get one more playoff. Doesn't look like they're in a hurry.
It looks like they're just going to let it run out.
They will go back 7 yards, and that's where we will start this 4th quarter, the NFLPA Collegiate Bowl. From the Rose Bowl, defense dominating this one, 7-0 national team in their football when we come back.
Running with him. Man, knock the crap out of him. You in the back. He's not running to you so you can just run with him. He's bringing him to you. Boom! You can't just run him to your man. I don't get that, man. I just don't understand the game.
I think your former teammate wants to hit somebody, Mark.
Well, little Pee Wee, you know, he's hit a few guys before, but he really did it all with running.
Do you ever play with anyone as fast as him?
No. I'm telling you what, my first mini camp ever. We go 3 days of practice, Joel. 3 days of mini camp, just, you know, 2-a-days, right?
Yeah.
And there's a rainstorm, wind blowing. We're on an old turf field, and Darryl Green and a pair of old Adidas turf shoes in this sheeting rainstorm. I stand there to watch him run his 40 because we do combine testing at the end of it. 4.28 in the rain, wet shoes after, you know, 2 practices on Friday, 2 practices on Saturday, practice Sunday morning, and then we ran
just
combine.
Out.
Oh my goodness,
that's amazing.
It was one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen.
My question was, who ran after that? I mean, what?
No, you just called it.
That was it.
Everybody go in, right?
Our team is fast. Okay.
Incredible. 20 years at that position, Hall of Famer, obviously.
As sure as we're standing here right now, I guarantee he can still run a 4.5 I promise you he can run in the 4.5s right now.
I'm going to race him.
Hey, Petros, you should. Woodside across his body has a completion. It's back-to-back to Caleb Woods. Lieb Woods, I should say. So here's Green, right? Coaching in this game, first time as a head coach. I mean, look at all of his time in Washington. 2 Super Bowls and a Hall of Famer. Greatest corners ever play.
Boy, I tell you, unbelievable. What an athlete. What just a
Here's the question, though.
Hand of God just reached down and said, you're going to run fast for your entire life.
Do you think these players understand, like, the value that he's giving them this week?
No, I don't. I mean, I don't think you can really properly understand that. Like, I have a great reverence for the guys who came before me and really studied the game that way and really appreciate those guys. But you're talking to one of the best players that's ever played the National Football League in Darryl Green.
That was Austin Prohl with his first catch, guys.
I was going to just say that was the first time that we've seen some good protection. Woodside got to set up in the pocket, get the ball down the field, and it allowed the route to come from the right side of the offense and get all the way behind the linebackers after the wide receivers had cleared out and find that soft spot on the left side of the deep secondary. Woodside threw it on time. That's why they like Prohl so much. You know, Mike Martz said he reminds him 100% of Ricky, his father. He's kind of the same type of player.
Pressure here, and just going to dump it off and get rid of it.
Interesting, too, because in the first half, Mike Martz talked to Woodside about, man, let the game come to you. Calm down. Slow it down a little bit for yourself. And you saw that throw to Prohl. He had that protection, but he set himself up well, used proper mechanics, stepped into the throw, and an absolute dime. And sometimes a throw like that we just saw him throw it out of bounds intentionally, sometimes that's the best play you can make. Listen, there's nothing out there. Throw it out of bounds. Don't take a sack. And let us continue to keep in our rhythm, our offensive rhythm right now. So it's actually a smart play to be able to do that.
Woodside tried again. Steps up, pressure from the backside, and slides down before he gets decked. And so a third down is coming up. Well, he's a guy who broke Bruce Gradkowski's career passing mark at Toledo. So he's certainly, he's got the lineage. He's done a lot here. And now we'll see if he gets the chance. That's really what it comes down to, guys playing in this game.
And I think more than anything, it's about the fit, right? You know, you got to find the guy that's going to make you stick. And because candidly, there are a lot of Logan Woodsides out there. But he's got to find and create the connection with some quarterback coach or offensive coordinator that makes him stick.
Third down here. Woodside going far side, going complete. It's Goolsby, the tight end out of Florida, and he's got a first down.
Yeah, it's a great job by Woodside, letting the game come to him. He didn't force anything. You heard earlier in the game Mike Martz talk about don't make your own interpretations of what's going on out there. Let the schematics work for themselves. See how he allowed the route to develop. Then he makes his decision, gets the ball into the hole, throws it on time for a nice completion. That's him taking a mistake from early in the game, learning from it, fixing it, and then putting it into action later in the game. That's going to show the scouts a lot.
Woodside tipped at the line, and, well, he caught his own pass, and then he got drilled for it.
It's where you want to go up and do the volleyball spike.
Yep, boom, just way it down. That's right.
Spike
Avoid the hit.
Right.
Well, and it's actually the smart play because you don't lose the yardage.
Right. Right to the helmet of the offensive lineman. Just bat it down right there.
Our man Tony Garrod comes in there. That's 307 pounds landing right on your rib cage.
Got a penalty. Garrod's had a day. He's a sack and a half in this game. He's been active. Let's see what the penalty is here.
It had to be illegal touching because that ball hit the lineman first. The offensive line. That wasn't tipped by a defensive player.
Illegal touching. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Hate that rule too, by the way.
Right.
Like what did you
do? What's illegal about me? Like what are you talking about?
Right. I was just blocking my guy. He threw it in my helmet. Give it a, you know, penalize the quarterback, not me.
What would you call that penalty if you could rename it?
I would call that stupidity by my quarterback. Illegal stupidity by the quarterback.
5 yards.
5 yards. Repeat the down. I mean, nothing good can happen to you when you play offensive line. Like, you know what? If your running back goes for 200+ yards,
he's great.
Right, he's great. And you're a tagline at the end of it. Got to think the big guy's up front. Now let's talk about me. And then, you know, all of a sudden you give up a sack, and you know you give up a holding call. And the one thing you had no control over, illegal touching. That shouldn't go on you.
After all these years.
Just hurts.
All of these years, it finally took the fourth quarter of the Collegiate Bowl for your anger to come out?
Yeah.
That's when over an illegal touching.
That's when it surfaces?
Yeah, that's exactly. Poor Alex Officer. He's like, hey, remember when you played in the Collegiate Bowl and you got an illegal touching? You're like, really, dude?
Illegal defense. Half the distance to the goal. Automatic first down.
Oh, they finally called him on that. They told him they were going to call him on this. Let's go back and maybe try to take a look from behind. They're supposed to play a defense called over defense, which means that the 3 technique is on the outside of the guard to the strong side or to the tight end side. And it's difficult to see exactly where they were lined up, but they also can't stunt. They can't do those sorts of things, and that certainly was an illegal defense. They're basically in like an odd front. I'd say we're looking at a different monitor here. They had wide defensive tackle techniques, one guy on the center. 100% that was an illegal defense and a good call there.
And so Darryl Green is hot. We got an illegal D. We got a timeout. We got a first and goal for the national squad.
Media timeout.
From the first chapter.
They're supposed to have is a guy lined up right there, and then this is the 3 technique, and then they're supposed to have a guy on the outside shoulder. So 97's in the wrong position, 92's technically in the wrong position. That's absolutely an illegal defense. It looks like what I would call odd front, or one guy in the center and then 2 guys outside of the tackles. And the American squad gets called on it. That's what Mike Martz was so frustrated with in the first half. Just showed you a look right there. Showed you where they were supposed to be lined up and where they were lined up, and they finally got called on it.
Yeah, they did. And so that results in a first down and goal from the 7. National squad up 7-0. 10-17 to play in the game. Richard, the tailback here. Woodside going to throw tips and incomplete. As Sione Tehuma out of southeastern Louisiana.
Why, Joe, why so many tip balls? They're all in these short drops, but why so many tip balls today by the defensive line?
Well, because in a game like this, you can't scheme your way to open throwing lanes. So you can't create a formation that's going to stress a defender at the second level and create a window in the second level. You're just running base defense. And so the windows are even tighter in that second level, which makes it more difficult to throw the football.
Here's Richard, and that is not going to go anywhere.
In particular, down here in the red zone or inside the 10-yard line, the windows are small anyways. So that's where you need the advantage of your schematics, motion, a matchup, doing something with your formation in order to gain space or leverage or some element that is advantageous to you offensively. And when you're just running straight base offense inside the 10, it's almost impossible.
Third down and goal. Woodside, little shovel. Richard inside, and he's not going to get there. So a 4th and goal is coming up from the 5.
That's why I'm actually surprised that they haven't just turned this into a one-on-one, right? Rather than trying to force it in the middle of the field, whether it's a slant or some sort of run play, turn it into my receiver's better than your defensive back and just stand up and kind of throw a back shoulder fade.
Right. Well, that's Trey Rutherford, offensive lineman out of UConn, who's down on one knee right now. So they tend to Trey.
I would imagine if you're going to turn it into a one-on-one game like that, though, you need some reps. You need some timing. You need some.
Exactly.
Hey, I've got to understand that if he keeps top shoulder on you, defensive back keeps top shoulder on you, I'm going to throw the back shoulder fade.
Or I'm going to go to the back pylon.
Right. If I get to the, we get even, I'm throwing it to the back pylon, and that takes timing, and timing, frankly, you don't have in an all-star game like this.
So now Eric Powell will try a field goal. He missed on a long one over 50 earlier in the game. It's 52 earlier. This a 22-yard attempt to extend the national lead to 10. And he does just that. 22-yard field goal for Powell. And the national team up 10-0 on the American squad. 9:03 to go from Pasadena.
Why shouldn't there be a holiday to celebrate race?
A lot of these guys trying to get to a game like that someday. College all-star game, trying to get noticed, trying to get drafted, you name it. The NFLPA Collegiate Bowl. John O'Korn back in at quarterback for the American squad out of Michigan, throwing it to the far side, and there is Marquez Valdez-Scantling with nowhere to go.
So you're going to try to run a wide receiver a little like bullet screen. The one thing you can't do as a wide receiver is wait. You know, I mean, that thing, once you get that ball in your hands, you got to go. And you watch him, he's just kind of waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting, and that pursuit's going to get there, and it's going to get there in a hurry.
Right, turn inside, take a couple of steps inside, let your offensive line clear, and then you get yourself upfield and start making something happen up the field. Hesitation creates an opportunity for the defense to flow, and you see a defensive lineman in Haran make a tackle there and limit you.
And we would catch inbounds by Disley, the tight end. William Disley out of Washington.
Only had 21 catches on the year, but they weren't really a tight end oriented offense. He's a guy that has shown the ability this week catch the ball really well with his hands. That's something that the coaches talked about. A lot of tight ends are body catchers, and he gets 2 feet down there while catching the ball in his hands. That's a great job.
It's actually good body control. Came to Washington as a defensive lineman, and they converted him to a tight end, but that was pretty nimble. Carter, tailback, gets swallowed whole. John Franklin's made a couple plays today. From Stephen F. Austin.
If you're talking to the coaching staff, they'll tell you that the 2 most impressive defensive linemen of the week have been Ade Aruna from Tulane, number 91, and John Franklin, number 94. Now, they did say that Franklin is much better against the run than he is as a pass rusher. He hasn't developed as a pass rusher the ability, but his length and strength allow him to defend the run really well, and he obviously gets it done there.
O'Korn, some pressure, tries to swing it to Dawkins, and they can't connect. Incomplete.
Well, there's the other defensive lineman I was talking about, Mark Ade Aruna. He's the one that provided the pressure on O'Korn, and I thought O'Korn had to throw the ball a little bit early. Aruna's going to come on this right side of the defense, number 91, just a quick outside move, but do you see him set the edge and then get right to the quarterback, and that forced the increase of the timing.
That'll bring him a 3rd down and 12.
Worst down in football right here, 3rd and 12.
And no doubt about it, especially for the lineman.
Yeah.
Corn spinning, running. Now he's got to tuck and run. He is going to come up shy of a 1st down. See if Darrell Green gets aggressive on 4th down here under 7 minutes to go. We don't want to see any more kicks, I can tell you that.
Certainly not. And, you know, I mean, obviously you've got to be able to convert. One thing you can say, execution offensively for this game has been really poor, but the effort of these kids has been absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Sideline to sideline, run around. There's been some great hits, nice pops, good contact, hard running. So you can't, I mean, you can't look at that and say anything but positive from the standpoint of how hard these kids are playing, the way they're approaching this game.
4th down and 3. They will go. O'Korn looking. Still looking. Gonna set up a deceive it deep where he's got a man, Mitchell, and instead it is intercepted. Troy Apke is the man who's got it. Apke making moves. Apke has a wall, and Apke down inside the 35 out of Penn State. O'Korn went deep looking for Mitchell. He had him. He underthrew it. He got picked. And that's that. National football, their lead. Man, he had 1 interception on the year. He's got 1 in this game. And here's why we're playing this game today. Because out of the players that played in it last year, actually pretty decent success. 23 players out of this game were drafted. This is last year alone. 30 of them made NFL rosters. Of course, others on the practice squad. So 62 total players that played in this game last year were on NFL rosters. Tariq Cohen, probably the most notable name, who had a lot of success this year. But that's actually better numbers than you would think.
Yeah.
So here's the national team after the Apke interception, and that carry goes nowhere to Anthony Filion.
Well, I think Joel brought up a great point about this game. You know, you see 62 total players, and it's about not only the draft, but where you go as a free agent, find a place that fits for you, and then you can find a coach that believes in you. You become somewhat of a project. As, you know, a small school guy or a guy that doesn't come with great accolades or great fanfare, you find a coach that makes you his project and helps you along your way, helps develop you, and that's how you stick, and that's how you play for a length of time in the National Football League. All these kids' dreams, obviously.
They will throw it, and a good catch. We got a flag on the play, too, on the far side of the field as Baugh, the tight end from Ohio State, hauls it in. Let's see what the penalty is.
I think it's going to be illegal contact on Jaleel Wadu.
prior to the pass, illegal contact. Defense, number 56. That penalty is declined. The result of the play is a first down.
That's actually Jannard Avery, number 56. But here's the throw and catch. This is a great throw right over the linebacker. And then the concentration from Marcus Baugh from Ohio State, because it looked like the corner guys did it. It looked like he might have gotten a fingertip on that. And Baugh was able to still bring it down and bring it in. Great concentration from him. Showed out in some big moments a la against Penn State this year for the Buckeyes. And he's played pretty well this week.
Oh, it's a fullback alert. Get Petros on the microphone as Marks, who's got the touchdown today, has that carry, and he's close to a first down.
Yeah, Petros released the secret weapon. Put the fullback in.
He's had the most life in his legs of most of the backs we've seen this afternoon, guys. Marks is going to become the next Tommy Vardell out here.
Touchdown, Tommy Vardell. I love it. Oh, my goodness. You know why he didn't get those chances at Stanford, guys?
Why is that?
Because Bryce Love had 13 rushes of over 50 yards.
Yeah, I don't think I could get to the fullback either. No offense.
There was only one team that had that many. He had 13 himself. Arizona, the only other team in college football that that many. They had 14 on the year.
That's incredible. This is Philly. He's got nowhere to go there. Covington was there. Philly's got to be pretty cool from him. Went to Howard, but he's an LA guy. Actually went to Redondo Union in Redondo Beach. I'm sure he's got some family and friends here today. 9 rushing touchdowns on the year. Actually rushed for a Howard school record 281 yards in a game his junior year.
He had a sensational career. I always look at that, can you sustain it over time rather than just one great? He had 33 touchdowns in his career, 2,700 yards. Clearly a guy that understands the game.
Stays in here on a 2nd down and long. Get it to him. Hole left side. Philly trying to get to the goal, and he's got it. Scoring in his hometown, and the national team adds a touchdown.
Good vision from Philya. This play is designed to possibly kind of stay on that right side, but he sees a little bit of a cutback lane. He's going to kind of bend around, and then he sees the area vacated to his left, and he's gone. And the decisiveness on that cut was really good from Philya, and then the speed to get the pylon.
Right, great cut, and as he got into the middle of that run, you see the shoulder shimmy just a little bit to hold the defense, and he knows he's going to the pylon, but he just shakes his shoulders enough to make you think as a defender he might cut it up inside, and that buys him the time to make it to the pylon before the defense can get there.
Yeah, that shimmy, it doesn't make it an all-out sprint for the defense. It's not a race to the pylon at that point because he's still got to defend. It's a great point.
So Philly scoring the touchdown, and the 2nd time today the national team finds the end zone. In control, they're up 17-zip, 3 and change to go. And that, by the way, event starting out on FS2 as soon as we're done here, which will be in a couple minutes. UFC will be right on after us. So if you're tuning in for the fight, turn on FS2 right now, or just be lazy and leave it on the channel till this game ends, and then you'll see it. That's the bottom line. Oh, what do we have here?
That's the Luis Perez cheering section. He's playing quarterback right now. He started the game. Texas A&M Commerce, which were Division II national champs. He was the Harlan Hill Trophy Award winner, best Division II player in the country, and we'll see if he can get a little work in here in the waning moments.
It's actually, I know, Joel, you stated multiple times that you like him and like some of his tools, that he gets drilled there, and he fumbles there, and it's picked up by the national squad, Frankie Herod, who's rumbling and finds his way into the end zone. Once the big man scores, it's all over.
Oh, yeah, that's clear the benches. Clear the benches. Abdul Anderson from Bucknell is number 92. He's the one that caused the strip the ball, and then gotta love it, Frank Herron from LSU, 5-star recruit out of high school, never really materialized into a kind of a 5-star dynamic as a player for LSU, but now trying to make it at the next level, and that's a big play there.
It was such a big play, the entire team came down to congratulate him. It's just
Anytime one of the big fellas gets to score, I mean, you got to go down there. You got to be part of that, right? Everybody wants wants to be a part of that.
That's awesome. Great moment. Powell with the extra point, and that goes awry. That's been a common theme today. But who cares, because the big van rumbled home. Sack, force, fumble. Frankie Herron says, oh, wait a second. I got a chance. Bring it in, big fella. Squad. 2:50 to go, as that's a happy Frank Herron, who just rumbled in a fumble recovery for a touchdown. And now the American team, which has been stymied on offense, trying to get something on the board with Luis Perez, who's going to hand off here. You know, I wanted one other thought on Perez. We were talking about him. We showed his cheering section here today. Amazing thing about him is he was a wide receiver in a wing T offense in high school, and he quit the team to bowl.
Yeah.
And he was an unbelievable bowler. He bowled, what, 300 games, and he just didn't play football for a few years.
Comes back to football. It goes on to be, what, 25-3 record as a starter at Texas A&M Commerce. And just to give you an idea of Harlan Hill Trophy winners that are making it and doing well in the NFL, guys like Joy Bell from Wayne State, Danny Woodhead from Chadron State, Jason Vanderlyn from Ferris State. I mean, so there are guys with his pedigree that have not only made it but stuck in the NFL, including at the quarterback position.
So, 2-minute warning. Another look from our official cams. Love these today. Good stuff. 2 minutes to go.
One game separates you.
Team has had their way with the American squad, 23-0. Just keep in mind, this was scoreless at the half, so it's all come in this second half for the national team. Got it going early. Kenny Hill fumbled on his first snap. Nationals took it in a couple plays later, and then they were rolling since then as Perez has it knocked down at the line. Feels like there's been about 20 batted balls today at the line of scrimmage. There have actually been 8, according to Jeff Nelson, our super stat man up here in the booth.
That one was Nephi Lialo, defensive tackle from Vanderbilt. Got it originally from Sacramento, so back in his home state, playing in this Collegiate Bowl.
So Jordan Descalo will punt it away. This is Gage from LSU, going to field it, try to look for a little seam here, but you know what? That seam does not exist. And so the national team will come out, minute 38 to go. I would think take a knee, but who knows? Try to get some guys some reps.
Yeah, I mean, because it's not about the win and the lot. Now it's just about the film. Because remember, here's what's crazy about this. You never know which rep is going to make a scout fall in love with you.
It's true. It's a good point.
You know, and if I know it would be hard to remind a player of that right now, because they're thinking like, oh, okay, it's almost over. Guard stands up and just pancakes the tackle on this play, let's say, for instance. Scout just thinks to himself, boy, I like that guy. Let's take him.
Yeah.
You know, you never know which rep is the rep that is ultimately going to be the tipping point in your career.
The other thing that you start to look at as just an evaluator is when the game is out of hand.
Yeah, do they love football?
Yeah, do you love football? Are you still out there grinding? You got a 24-0 lead. Are you a guy that, or 23-0 lead? Are you a guy that wants to take a knee, or you guy wants to finish a block?
Yeah.
You know, those are the things that we talk about. Hey, you're down 23-0 on defense. You still going to hustle around, or you just going to give up?
That's complete on the near side. Brandon Shedd.
There are a lot of guys that love to play football, but there aren't a ton of guys that football is a part of them. You know, and in particular, when you're looking at guys that might be later rounds or undrafted free agents, you want to find guys that just eat it, leave it, you know, live it, sleep it, drink it. All of those. Just football is their life. It's their blood. And in times like this, this is kind of when you find that out.
That's David Williams on the carry from Arkansas. As the final seconds winding down, and that will do it. Here from the Rose Bowl, Mike Martz has won 5 straight as a head coach in this game. And his squad wins another one, 23-0, the final score.
Well, it wasn't the prettiest game out there, but there were some things that stood out and some performances that stood out. I just want to give a quick shout out. I thought that the best player in the game, and I know this is a little odd because he's an offensive line, I thought Matt Gono, the left guard for the American team, number 72, was the best player in the game.
I don't think you have to feel bad about shouting out a left guard. I mean, usually they are. Left guards are usually the key to all success when it comes to winning at a very high level. So I'm 100% with you on that. He played great. There was a couple of defensive linemen that were outstanding as well in this game. Franklin was great during the course of the day.
Aruna was
very good. So, you know, I think there were a lot of players that really showed well today.
And Petros, let's not forget, Daniel Marks really showed out, the fullback from Stanford. He got more chances to carry the football than maybe he did in his entire career at Stanford.
Player of the game for me.
And you're right, Petros, and he had his first career touchdown today, did Marks, for this national squad, who comes away with the win. So a week of practices, of getting to know each other, of getting tutelage from some fine coaches, and the national team comes out on top. Final score 23-0. National team wins it. For Joel Klatt, Mark Schlereth, Petros Papadakis, and our entire crew here on FS1, I'm Kevin Burkhardt. Thanks for watching from the Rose Bowl today. As right now we get you set and get you out to the UFC pre-fight show on FS1. We will see you sometime.